So with that, we move on to item 7, which is new business. And the first item of new business is approval of Project Lead the Way class, Principles of Engineering, Math/Science crosswalk. And Mrs. Sparish and Mr. Joyce are here to address that.
We're very fortunate to have the opportunity to offer a Principles of Engineering course at high school, number 1. And also number 2, we're now applying to the state to receive science credit for those students in need of an elective science credit. Mr. Joyce has done all the work on this. I can't take any credit for this. He's the one that set up the committee, got everything, got the paperwork all ready to go, and I believe you have all of it there in front of you if there's any questions for us. If there's anything you want to add.
No.
Do you need anything here?
This was a joint effort made by both us and the science department. I worked with Mr. Pashy as well as Mr. Adams, who's now our assistant principal, but at the time was working with the science department as well. And so also with Mr. Hay, we wanted to make this as open as possible so that way it wouldn't be departments fighting for different students. It really was a joint effort to figure out, with the added requirements of science, how can we provide more options for our students so that they can meet those requirements. This crosswalk is not only recognized by the Wisconsin DPI, but it's also recognized by the UW college system or university system. So these do count as science credits for those students also looking to apply those at the university level.
And I should clarify that it is strictly science credit. On the agenda, I know I had placed math. And that was another class that I think digital electronics down the road, we're looking at math, science.
Actually, digital electronics is math because Tim Pashy is math certified.
Okay.
So that worked out well too for us.
So this is just...
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Digital electronics, because it is taught by Tim Pashy, who is already certified to teach math, we can assign a math credit to that. The reason we have to apply for this is our teacher is currently not a science teacher that's teaching principles of engineering. So we have to apply to the state to allow us to offer the science credit. That's why you have to do the crosswalk and stuff to show that we're meeting all the science.
Yes. And so, which works out well too, because again, with the increased rigor of our science and math, even the digital electronics, which is offered as an elective, is also offered as an additional math credit.
So if you could sort of explain it maybe in another way, just so I completely understand it. The actual class that's being added is Principles of Engineering. Is that right?
We currently have that class. What we're adding
Okay.
is that it will be allowed to get science credit.
The student would have the choice when they finish a class. They can keep it as technology education credit, or they can opt to have it given as science credit. Okay. They need to make the choice. It has to be either or. But this gives us the opportunity to give them the choice.
Okay.
So again, with the added science, it's nice because it just provides more options for the student.
And that's how the crosswalk part comes into
Yes.
it? That's the mechanism?
That allows them to make that choice.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And that's through DPI?
Yes.
Who sanctions, who approves it
Yes.
for the science credit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is all, so when they get done, this is all done at the state level, and then again at the university level too, that this is an effort that's already been done by DPI to make sure that this crosswalk can happen. We're just applying to make sure that we can be accepted in that.
So this, again, we're in the application stage?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
It has not...
And you will be signing this if it's approved by the board tonight.
Okay.
And blue ink, too. Make sure you get it blue ink.
Yes, So the Principles of Engineering class, that's the name of the class the student will
Yes.
be signing up for.
Yes.
And they can do that irregardless of whether they're in Project Lead the Way specific targeting or not.
Good question. There's obviously a sequence of classes that we have that are related to Project Lead the Way, so we'd call that a pathway that a student could take if they had that higher aptitude for engineering or they had that interest in engineering. That there is no prerequisite for Principles of Engineering other than the fact that the student should either have had geometry or they're concurrently enrolled in geometry, just because of the math base that's involved in there. But we do that to leave it open to as many students as possible. That was suggested to us by the folks at Milwaukee School of Engineering when they came and did a review of our school, that we leave each of those classes open with just the basic requirements that they have the math level that they need to be in those classes, which it seemed to work pretty well.
So they can, and it looked like from the paperwork outline that you had that, will many of these students be seniors, or can that happen? I mean, it can happen at a lower...
Typically, with this class, we typically have sophomores and higher just because of that geometry level, though we do have a freshman in there this year. So if the student does have the algebra level at 8th grade or even a higher level of math at 8th grade, then they can be in there as well. Again, as long as they're concurrent with geometry, but typically a 10th grader is taking geometry, so that's usually the age that fits into there. The Introduction to Engineering Design is typically a class that's suited more for freshmen because that's more of an algebra level class.
And the main impetus for this is just choice, just to give students another option for science credit.
It is. When talking with Mr. Pashy and Mr. Adams, they both explained to me that this curriculum also fits with a lot of the things that sometimes they don't have time to go in depth in within their curriculum. So it just allows those students to also see where some of the things that they're learning within those science classes are applied in a different way too. So we would hope that a student that's really interested in science, that this would be another avenue for them too, to see where they can explore their interest and take it a little further too. So it's not just a choice, but it works as another choice for students.
Okay.
Again, DPI laid out the step-by-step process that Robert and the science department needed to go through. Mm-hmm. So they have followed through with that, and now it's them. If you approve this, then it's applying to DPI for that class to be offered for science credit.
Okay. And so specifically, we already have the class. You're asking for us to approve the crosswalk application?
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll
look for a motion
to approve.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the crosswalk application for the Principal of Engineering class, whereby it would be afforded a credit for science. Is that correct?
Yes.
If approved by DPI.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion regarding this?
I got one, Mr. President.
Mr. Grosstein.
It's just nice to see, I know both of you have expertise, but it's nice to see you people within our system to assist in this goal. I'm amazed at what we have within our district. I've always said that, and bringing you two forward and explaining it to us, really nice to see.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity.
That's right. Any other comments or questions?
Second.
Does this class have any college credits associated with it or not?
Great question. Yes, right now it's transcripted through Western Technical College, so students receiving a C or higher by the requirements of Western, what they deem as a C or higher, can get college credit. They also have the opportunity, if they can score a B or higher in the course and then a C or higher on the final exam, then they can also receive college credit through Milwaukee School of Engineering, which can also be applied at any of the UW schools. So.
Great. Anything else?
Just to thank you to Mr. Joyce for all the hard work you've put into the whole project Lead the Way curriculum, and in your committee too, working on this application process. And you really have done an outstanding job, you and Mrs. Deist and others that have pushed this through in a short period of time for this to be offered through our school system. So it's a good curriculum to have.
And not only in curriculum, but I know that within the community, you reached out to many of the community partners, and it's been a wonderful experience for them. So I've heard many, many good compliments on the committee and the work that you do.
Thank you
Very
again.
appreciated.
And more importantly, thank you for the opportunity. I wouldn't be able to do this without your permission and, the support I get from you guys, so thank you.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Thanks for that feedback. And looking at that application, it looked like a fairly laborious job. So we do appreciate the sacrifice you make to take some initiative and get these things done. The vote still remains. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So the motion carries, and that request is approved.
Thank you very much.
So thank you again.
Thanks, Ethan.